So today I wanted to talk more about religion and how I use religion in my own life. If you'll recall, a couple weeks ago I did a video on the functions of religion and religion's relationship to science. At the end of the video I said that religion and science work well together. So I'm sure some people would question what kind of religion I practice in order for it to work hand in hand with science. The view nowadays is that science and religion are incompatible. In my experience, it's totally the other way around. One without the other doesn't cut it. So let me first say that I am religious. I go to church and I practice a religion. The religion is one of my own invention. As far as I know, there's only one person in the world that practices this religion, and that's me. The church that I go to is a Unitarian Universalist church. Basically, they believe or affirm 7 basic principles. And if you agree with these principles and you try your hardest to live your life in alignment with these principles, then you're in. So in a sense, it's the religion of no religion. Unitarian Universalism is wide open to a variety of different beliefs and isms. So we have lots of humanists, we have lots of atheists, we have lots of people who are spiritual but not religious in the traditional sense, and so this is a home for them, and that's where I go. I crave community and I crave like-minded people, not necessarily people that believe the same things I believe, but who at least have compatible beliefs. So the way I use religion is like a coat rack, which is what I was talking about in the previous video. I take the coat rack and I choose what coats I hang on it. I take the structure of religion and I insert my own beliefs, which I've researched and handpicked based on a variety of different factors. So what you end up with is a hodgepodge of different principles and beliefs and presuppositions that, in my opinion, work really well for me. And one of the reasons they work well is because they are consistent with each other. They connect, affirm, and support each other. If you look at certain organized religions out there these days, they affirm one thing, and then a few minutes later they affirm the opposite. Or they claim to believe this, but then their behavior is at odds. So one of the things that is very important for me is that all of my beliefs, principles, and presuppositions line up and don't contradict each other. So I've taken all of these different things, I've put them together, and I've developed a practice and rituals and different things to make it like a religion. Because I think rituals and practices are the way that we live our beliefs and our principles out in the real world. So if you have the beliefs but you don't practice them or you don't put them to work in real life, they're not going to be very useful to you. So basically I'll give you 3 of the principles that I live by. 3 principles from my personal religion. The first one is know thyself. Definitely commandment number 1 in the religion of Bali. Everything flows from there, because know thyself also means accept thyself and love thyself and master thyself. Take control of your life, your mind, your emotions, and live in a deliberate, mindful, and purpose-driven way. The second principle that I want to share with you today is the one I call the Stoic Fork. It's where you divide everything that happens and everything in your life into 3 categories. Things you can control, things you can't control, and then the middle category, which is things that you can partially control. So they're partially out of your control, but there are certain aspects of those things that you can affect. So you divide everything up into those 3 things. And that helps you prioritize and figure out where you should invest your concern and your attention and your focus, because you don't want to lose any of that on things you can't control. That leads to suffering, in my experience, of course. And the third principle I want to share with you today is called renounce and rejoice. And it's something that I try to do in all aspects of my life. It's not easy, but if you can do it even some of the time, it reduces your anxiety levels and it increases your level of satisfaction with life. So you renounce the results and outcomes of your actions, and you rejoice in the actions themselves. Renounce and rejoice. There's a line in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna tells Arjuna, you have the right to your work, but you do not have the right to the fruits of your work. So basically what that means is you have the right to do what you're going to do, but you have no possession of the outcome. There's nothing you can do about the outcome. All you can do is your action, right? Your behavior. So when you stop caring so much about the outcomes and you focus instead on the doing, it reduces, once again, suffering, and it really just shifts the emphasis from something that you really can't ultimately control, which is the result of your actions and the results of the universe around you, other people's actions, and natural events that just happen without your say-so. So you take importance away from that and you focus on your actions, the things that you're doing that you have to do or that you want to do. So know thyself, the Stoic Fork, and renounce and rejoice. These are three principles that are part of my religion that I've adopted from other places, obviously. I didn't come up with these in some flash of insight. I found it in my travels. I guess I'm kind of a spiritual tourist. When I come home, I take what I've found, all the souvenirs and all the things that I love and that work for me, and I incorporate them into my religion. They become my property. So know thyself is everywhere. Lao Tzu says, knowing others is cleverness, knowing yourself is true wisdom. Aristotle says, knowing yourself is the beginning of true wisdom. Socrates, obviously, was a huge proponent of this principle, and it's everywhere. In all of the wisdom traditions and all of the spiritual paths, there is something to be said about knowing yourself. The Stoic Fork is obviously primarily a Stoic invention, but at the same time, it's essentially acceptance. It's acceptance of the things you can't control. That's the underlying principle behind that. The whole point of dividing things into those three categories is so that you know what to accept as a matter of fact without resisting or creating unnecessary suffering for yourself. So the Stoics just packaged that principle in a clever way that I find practically useful. Because there are things you can control. That's the other aspect of this principle that I really enjoy. There are some people who are total fatalists who believe that everything, every action, your every decision is predetermined. I believe that a lot of it is predetermined, but there are some things in our court, and we can affect those things if we train the mind and train the body and train ourselves to do that. It's a behavior, and it's something that you have to learn to do. So, and last but not least, renounce and rejoice. Again, similar thing. I got this from the Bhagavad Gita specifically, but the principle behind it is, once again, give up the result of your actions. Give up the outcomes. Stop placing importance on those things, and when they happen and they work out in your favor, great, and when they don't, it makes no difference, because the action is its own reward, essentially. Your behavior, your part, what you have to do it well, and then give it up. It's like a sacrifice to the universe, right? You don't have to get anything for it. You don't have to be awarded. It doesn't have to work out the way you would prefer it to, because ultimately it's outside of your control. But what is in your control is how you react to it. And accepting it is one of the ways that you can react to it. So you see, I just shop around for different principles that help me, and I find maxims or expressions of those principles that are memorable, that I enjoy, that I can recite easily or remember easily. And then I fill my head with these things constantly, daily, on a daily basis, by making these videos, or by reading the stuff, or by working on my Bible, because of course if I have a religion, I have to have a Bible. This is how I fill my head with these principles and put them to work in my real life, because that's the purpose of religion or philosophy or ideology. It's not just to have these beliefs and to, say that you have them. It's taking action in the world and living your beliefs, being a breathing and moving expression of your beliefs, making sure that those beliefs are not harming you or those around you. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm going to head in and do some more work, but nice having a chat with you.